Hey everyone, and welcome back to Be a Warrior podcast. I have special guests today. You guys know I usually don't interview till April. We're Limb Loss, Limb Awareness Month, but we're changing some things up here because I've just recently gone in for a fitting, and I thought, what a better segue into these wonderful people out in the East Coast area, Massachusetts, from Bionic Skins, Eric and Lauren. Thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much
thanks
for
so much
having
for
us.
having us,
Yeah, I
James.
don't know how much you've ever been on podcasts, but welcome. And I'm excited if this is your first one. Woot woot. Can you guys introduce yourselves a little bit about where you born and raised, a little bit about your childhood, what brought you to where you're at now?
Sure. You want me to start, Lauren? You want to go?
Yeah, absolutely. Go right ahead.
Okay, well, I'm Eric. Nice to meet everybody. I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, and the way that I got to the East Coast was I went to grad school in Pittsburgh, and I actually did some research on some of Hugh's research in grad school. And so when he had a job opportunity, I was wrapping up school. I reached out, and I've been here ever since.
And for those of you that don't know, he's talking about Dr. Hugh Herr from MIT, who was actually a part of that where I went last December and did the gait study for some of his work that his students are doing, and then actually had him last April on my podcast. So that's exciting to see the connectivity, the circle coming together here. So thanks, Eric. Lauren, how about you?
Oh, awesome. Well, my name's Lauren. I grew up in a small town in New Hampshire. I did my undergrad in general biology at the university up in New Hampshire, and then went to grad school actually for physical therapy. And when I was doing some shadowing for getting into PT school, I was lucky enough to spend some time down at Walter Reed in Maryland. And when I was there, that was really where I got exposed to the world of prosthetics, and got to see some of just the really cool and innovative work that can be done. And so when I was actually in PT school at Northwestern in Chicago, they were looking to start a dual degree program with a doctorate in physical therapy and a master's in prosthetics and orthotics. So having kind of had that interest sparked, I said, I'll be your guinea pig. And so that's kind of how I ended up getting my master's degree in prosthetics and orthotics. Went through residency in Boston, at the Children's Hospital and some of the clinics around there, and have been working in orthotics, prosthetics, and research for about the last 7 years.
Wow. All right. Well, I love it. There's a lot there. And it's interesting the connections. Omaha, Nebraska. I have family that our roots all start in Nebraska.
Oh, I love that.
I was the only one born in Illinois, and then you said Chicago, and that's home now. Like that's where all my family's at. So I like that.
Love
It's
Chicago.
nice.
Yeah.
So these two wonderful people work at a place called Bionic Skins, and that is it considered Cambridge?
So
Or is
we
it
are in Bedford, right
okay?
near
Bedford.
Burlington. You
Okay.
guys started in Cambridge, but we have moved to
Okay.
Bedford.
And,
Just
and
north.
tell me a little bit about the starting point. Where did Bionic Skins start from? What is it? Like for people that have never heard of it, what is this why are you on here? What is Bionic Skins for our amputee community?
Yeah, so Bionic Skins is a startup out of Dr. Hugh Herr's lab, who we've mentioned. I believe it's founded in around like 15 years of research down at MIT. So they had a phase 1 clinical trial to determine, and essentially what the entire company revolves around is a computational way to create and design prosthetics. And so what we are trying to do is create a more comfortable socket. And so they had a phase 1 trial that went quite well. And then they got some grant money to go to a phase 2 trial. And that's when they brought me on board around 3.5 years ago. And so
Okay.
since then, we've gone through a couple of clinical trials. We've opened up our own clinic in Bedford, and we are continuing to pursue and advance comfort in prosthetics.
And it's
Yeah,
Anything to
just
really
add, Lauren, there?
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, really the goal is trying to make a more comfortable prosthesis. This is something that you wear, all day, every day. So how can we make it as comfortable and effective as possible? And so obviously there's so much good research going on at MIT and elsewhere, and the technology's gotten to a point where now we're ready to bring that to the people that are using this every single day. So Bionic Skins really started as a way to make that technology accessible and get it out in the world and actually helping the people that need it.
And when you say computational, Eric, like, so what makes it different than someone, and you guys do, okay, I guess I should backtrack. You guys make liners. I've seen the videos. I will make sure we post your Instagram and everything on here. There's videos of you creating liners, 3D printing liners within gel. Is that what you do? Is that the beginning stages of getting the right fit, and then you still build the hard socket, add the C legs or whatever? I mean, exactly what's going on a day-to-day basis with people that come in to see you?
So the entire process would start as someone coming in, Lauren or whoever would have an eval. They would take down some statistics from the patient themselves, and then we take a medical scan of their residual limb. So from there, we would kind of recreate that digitally, and we would run a bunch of tests on it, essentially. And the output would be the STL files or the things that we can 3D print. So we would send that to the printer, both the FDM printer for 3D check sockets, and then the liquid printer, which you mentioned for the liners. Anything to add with that?
Yeah, the way that I kind of like to explain it too is oftentimes when you're going in to get a prosthesis made, you'll have maybe a cast taken of your limb or a scan of the outside of your limb. So we are really designing a full system. So the liner's a part of it, but it's really about the interplay of the human body, the liner, and the socket. So because we're able to take medical imaging, we're really seeing the inside anatomy. And we're building a system that's totally custom from the inside out rather than taking that outside and building something to it. So we can be very, very specific and custom with everything that we make to just get a really intimate and well-fitting system, which includes a custom liner and a custom socket.
And so I'm guessing if you're doing an internal scan versus, okay, so I literally just 2 days ago did a cast, right? So they casted this leg, but they also poured cement into my other socket to pull that out, recast my old socket to see the differences and see where I might be having some hiccups. What you guys might be seeing then, what they can't see is, yes, of course, there's the outer dynamics and how it slides on and stays on, but you guys are probably processing where excess tissue is, bone is hitting, where there's space that can be a problem. Is that why the internal imaging, is that how it makes it more comfortable than just seeing the silhouette?
Yeah, so it gives us a kind of more complete data. So we're really able to see everything that's in there. And there are, some amazing prosthetists that can really work magic with casting, but this is just a great way to get really repeatable and quantifiable, comfortable results.
Interesting. And you guys are actually taking patients, but did I see you're still doing some studies too? Needing some, I don't, for lack of a better term, guinea pigs, but people that are interested in the process that you are still kind of fine tuning other aspects of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say research is a big part of what we believe in and what we do. We're always trying to make sure things are data driven. So yes, we're absolutely seeing patients, going through insurance, but we do have a couple of clinical trials going on right now. One with the Department of Defense that's wrapping up, and then a second one with the National Institutes of Health, where we're looking at, socket fit and activity level. And all of this just helps us to, every person that comes through really helps us to move our designs forward and get information just to make better fitting devices for anyone that comes through our doors.
That's great. And Eric, you're the numbers guy, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And so what would be a day in the life of Eric in the office?
Oh man. It really depends on the day. So still a small company, so we wear a lot of hats, both me and Lauren. I would say if we came in, and we had a patient coming in, we would take the scan. I would kind of process some of the data. We would set up simulations to run overnight. That's kind of where all of the kind of intermediary design kind of comes in. And answer emails and do whatever needs to be done essentially that day.
Clerical work, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. So you when I did, well, let me ask Lauren. Lauren, what would be a typical day for you? Because you are a certified prosthetist. So
Um,
how do you fit in with I mean, I know what my prosthetist does, but he also doesn't
sure.
do, he does everything from the casting all the way to the making of the final product. So what is it that
Yeah.
your specialty is? Where do you fit in with the Bionic Skins?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as Eric alluded to, there's
Multiple hats.
no typical day.
Yeah, no, I
And kind
know.
of
Pretend.
everyone's all helping up. But yeah, absolutely. So my role is definitely focused on the clinical aspect of things. So direct patient care. So that's fittings, adjustments, evaluation appointments, the role of the prosthetist, even using all of this technology, it's still really crucial to have a prosthetist and a prosthetist input. One of the really nice things is, Eric's really great with the mathematics of it all, the stuff that is beyond me.
Yeah, that's
So
not my
one of
forte.
the
Yeah.
so one of the great things is, say, after we see a patient, we can sit down together and really, give input on how we want a design to go, or just kind of, work collaboratively to make sure that things are running smoothly. So, he does a lot of the design work and the mathematical modeling. And then mine is more clinical focused. It is interesting, having worked at other facilities previously where absolutely a lot of your day is, your elbow deep in plaster, but here it is truly digital, which is a big step forward in the manufacturing and patient care spaces.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, after Hugh and I touched on it at the very end of our podcast in April about Bionic Skins, because that was the first time I'd really heard about it when I was in doing the gait study. And he had said that it is very easy that if anything in the biometrics of a person's body changes just a hair, a fraction off, that the digital imaging that can be altered really quickly, right? And change so that your fit never, like, you can recreate instantly what tiny little changes might be off. Because we all know that one little thing can really wreck. I've had little tiny cracks that I couldn't even see myself that were giving me rashes, that were pinching my skin. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That little thing, right? Well, but to buff it out. I'm like, oh. So is that true? Like, he alluded to AI, and I don't know how AI fits into this. Is there some AI component to it?
I'll touch on a few things with that. I would say, so touch on your earlier point. I would agree, yes. Um, Given that we can turn around socket designs much quicker than I would say a normal facility could, um, given that we could, if you have any tiny change, let's say volume, let's say you have a, like a sore, something like that, we can, rescan you. We can run your models again. And because we already have the reference data from previous designs, we can see what's changing, what needs to happen. And then we can 3D print just the next day. So we have you come back in and get you fitted again, and then hopefully get you in something more comfortable. Whereas that process could take 2 to 3 weeks, depending on timing for other clinics. As far as AI and everything like that goes, people love saying AI these days. There is certain aspects that we integrate it within our process and design. However, it is I would say that our process it's physics based. So a lot of the way that we design is based on your anatomy, your personal, material properties of your skin, of your tendons, stuff like that. Um, and we kind of design based around you personally. We don't need to bring in AI to do that job. It can get better and will improve, and we intend on doing stuff like that in the future,
Right.
but that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay.
And to kind of add to that, the nice thing about then having, again, that data of the internal anatomy and then what your kind of preferred socket design is then, down the road, if you do have, some slight changes, maybe in volume or developing of a pressure area or some atrophy, again, we kind of know what works for you, and we're not necessarily starting back at square one again. We have those properties already saved, so we can fairly quickly go, okay, I think this is going to get us really close and make a new socket with just a small amount of new input.
Yeah. Well, and I think if I'm not mistaken, you guys had talked when we talked before, that you are right now currently only working BKs, correct? There is no AK research happening yet, or there is just starting?
So right now, clinically, we absolutely offer prosthetic care to people with all levels of amputation. Our digital pipeline is really right now optimized for individuals that have below knee amputations. That being said, absolutely, our goal is to continue research and expanding the technology.
Okay, and speaking of goals then, where do you guys, and I'm assuming because this is Hugh's baby that he created, he must have long-term goals, like he must have some big dreams. He usually does, and dreamers tend to do it big. Do we foresee Bionic Skins popping up over the nation eventually?
That is a wonderful question. There are many routes that we can pursue, and we do intend to spread our services across, whether that's physically or if we can have a sort of, central fab type model. There are plans to expand. We're just working right now to get our current clinic up and running and kind of expand from there.
So what you're
But
saying is, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's get this
Yes
one
and no.
right.
Yes.
All right. All right. I'm just,
there's
us
always
on this side of the world would love to know if it's always going to be a trip to Boston. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If you guys ever need me, I'm out there in a heartbeat. Love Boston. I have to say, this is exciting. I just saw that you guys were given the 2024 Freedom Award. So can you tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that? Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Yeah, basically, we wanted to just affirm our commitment to working with individuals that have served in the armed forces. So we're very excited to have been recognized with that.
Yeah,
Just in
the
time
only
for
one
Veterans
that's
Day.
only one that in Massachusetts, did I hear, or was
Yeah, yes, that's correct.
that's awesome. Congratulations. That's
Oh,
great. We're very close to, as amputees, right? I feel like there's certain categories we all fit into, whether it's an elected or it's, diabetic, cancer, or usually bike accidents. But we also have a huge population that are the veterans. And so that, that goes a long way. And I love that because it seems like everybody that sees me thinks that I've served. And I'm like, nope, I haven't, just a karate accident. And here we are. And they're like, really? So that's great. I was so excited to see that just the other day on your podcast or your Instagram. All right, so going forward, now this is still my question, and I know we talked about this, but I can't get my head around it. So for those people like me who are still trying to figure out what this looks like, now I am a skin fit, and I told you guys that. So truly, when my internal soft socket of the, and I'm guessing you guys have, I'm trying to visualize what this looks like, but I have the internal soft and my hard, but I don't have a liner. When I started, I had a liner. Is that the one you guys are creating? So for skin fit, it wouldn't be something I could do, or can you do the internal soft custom like that?
So we're really creating the full system. So liner and socket, they're really designed to work together and interplay. So we have, let me see if I can get my
Oh, good.
blur off
Yes.
here. Yes, got
Yay.
Oops.
I just want to wrap my head around this because I want to know if this is viable for me someday.
Sure. So like this would be an example of a custom liner. So you can see, again, this is
Every
what goes,
groove.
directly against the skin. So oftentimes people are fit in an off-the-shelf liner, which tends to just be, don't have an example handy,
Tube.
but
It's a
just
tube.
a kind of a tube shape. And it's pretty uniform thickness throughout and it works. But by creating something that's completely custom to the individual, we can, really hone in on small design changes and just really create that intimate fit that just truly reflects the limb that it's going on. And then we also, the socket is designed too. So, we print and design both in tandem. So it's really designed to be a system of socket and liner.
Okay, so there. And so short answer, can a skin fit get fitted specifically and intimately with your product? Or do I need to go back to a liner system?
So I'm an optimist.
I love
We
that.
sat down for a couple of days. I'm sure we could figure something out, but right now we are only offering a liner and socket fit. But again, we can try to figure something out.
Well, and I'm just thinking, okay, so you said something about how it's uniform, like liners are uniform thickness, right? Are yours actually thicker in some areas where it's needed and thinner in others?
Yeah, so we can do a lot of different stuff with the liner. Typically what we do is we'll have a kind of a thinner proximal region, so closer to the knee, just because that material buildup in the back can get pretty cumbersome for some
Yeah.
people when they try to flex their leg or try
Right.
to, go into a squat, something like that. And if people are having, kind of distal tibia or distal problems in general, it's a pretty common thing. We can thicken the distal region for pretty much any place that needs, that extra kind of comfort support.
Wow.
We can do a lot of things with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, as much as I do like, it'll be interesting to see how that interplays with being a skin fit, because the reason I went skin fit was that it was a more intimate feel. The problem is it's, even though it is formed to me by a casting process, and there are the bumps and the grooves, well, in our heat, I stopped getting windows put in my socket because I was literally remolding my plastic, and it was puncturing out and bubbling out from all the hiking in 100-degree weather. So it would be interesting to see if I would get a better fit, if Skin Fits got a better fit, going back to a thin liner that actually was them, made for them specifically, like to a T.
And so I will say this as well, and I think if you did try it, you would be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Because the way that the liner is designed itself, it looks like your leg. You can see all those contours and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the way that it's, the best way that I can describe this is that it's actually, let's say your leg, but a little bit smaller, because we can actually kind of simulate and model kind of that dawning or like the pressures that you actually feel when you put on a liner. And so we can make that as intimate as you want. Obviously, we don't want to go too overboard. We don't want to cut off circulation, but
Right.
we can really kind of get that intimate feeling that people really want, just based on how we can design it.
Oh, that's crazy. Got me thinking
I'd
now.
love to try.
I
If
know,
you're
I
ever
know.
come up to
You know, I
Boston.
told you I'd be your guinea pig. I have absolutely no problem being a guinea pig. I would love it. And like I said, Boston is like become a second home, and I love coming out there and seeing y'all. Well, that's great. I think there's so many goals and so many things that can happen. I love that you guys are reaching into the veteran community. I love that it's research based as well as continuing to research as you are working. I mean, I know that's like a full-time job plus, but that's really cool. Now, can you explain a little bit for those people that are like, "Oh, this sounds really interesting. I would love to try to be part of the research." What are the qualifications? I noticed that there are some qualifications for this current thing that's happening right now. What kind of qualifications can people that want to reach out to you have to be able to be a part of any of your research right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I mean, first, I would encourage anyone that's interested to reach out, and I can provide an email address, you know, regardless of kind of their status, and we can certainly keep people in mind for any studies that may pop up. But currently, right now, our study through the NIH, we are working with people that have had amputation secondary to diabetes, and we are looking for individuals that have had that amputation. I think it was between 9 months and 2 years ago, single side below knee. And I'm more than happy to, chat with anyone if they think they may be qualified, or even if they just have any questions. Reaching out is always just a great place to start, because we're more than happy to chat research and talk through what participation might entail and what to expect.
That's great. Okay, I like it. And I know that we'll get some people that will probably jump out to you, because I know that
Yeah,
we'll get it
absolutely.
on social media. We'll spread it like wildfire. Okay, so going into what's coming, do you guys have a busier season, do you find, or is it constant? Like here, we have the snowbirds, and then it's like it's dead here in the summer, right? So are you guys in a busy season? Is it constant? Where are you at with growing right now?
I think being a startup, there's always
Yeah.
something, and we're always, looking for the next opportunity to grow. So we're absolutely welcoming any and every opportunity, and any and every person that, is interested. One of the benefits of being in Boston, we're in such a vibrant hub that, it's definitely always busy, always stuff going on, but always looking to see as many people as we can, and just help as many people as we can.
Well, and the fact that you're growing, right? You just said you just hired on a new prosthetist. Is that
Yes.
correct?
We did. He's in
So you
the
have two
other room.
prosthetists and a numbers guy.
So our second process also works as he's also an engineer by schooling. And so he's a little bit of mix of both of us. So it's a nice little interplay.
Oh, that's good. And is the learning curve pretty intense? I mean, if you go from Lauren, you go from casting to this, that's got to be quite a jump.
It's very different. Absolutely. There's always going to be growing pains associated with it, but just because it's learning new technology and maybe doing things in a way that you didn't do before. But it's always super exciting. And when you get someone motivated and technology focused, I think it's an exciting challenge. So I think, that's been fun to get Devin on board, and get his input on things too. Every time the team grows, I think we get better as a company too, and our
Sure.
product gets better.
Yeah,
New
some fresh
perspectives.
ideas and some different insights and different viewpoints,
Absolutely.
right? Okay, so I'm going to ask you a real tough question now, each one of you. If you could dream what Bionic Skins looks like in about 5 to 10 years, Eric, what is it that you would want to see? And Lauren, what is it you'd want to see? What are your dreams, especially based on what you gravitate towards?
Good question. So what I would love to see is, expansion across, not just the US. I would love to go global. Love to be able to reach anybody who would want a device or a prosthetic that we can provide. Would love to see all levels of amputation. Would love to see a nonprofit arm outside of the company so we can help individuals that might not have as much access as we can provide in the US. And yeah, just to grow and help as many people as we can. That's why we're here.
I love it. All right, Lauren, you got to try to beat
Oh,
that one. No,
man.
I'm kidding. What
I
are
don't
your
think I can, but
that was actually
I
a
probably
really
just stole
well
everything
done,
from
I
you.
Eric.
know.
That was great.
Very good.
Lauren, how about you? What is your dream as a
Absolutely.
prosthetist? What do you see and want to see happening
Yeah.
in growth?
So what I want is just to be able to serve our patients really well. I really want to be able to provide well-fitting sockets and liners and systems that help individuals do the things that they want to do, and live their lives to the fullest. So it looks different for everybody, and kind of how that translates to us as a company. I think, we're just looking day by day with every single patient that comes through that door, that we're doing our absolute best for them, and just continuing with the research to provide the best prosthesis for every person that we see, and hopefully in that expanding access to people that maybe don't have access to prosthetic care as well.
Well done. I like that. There's a, if you can set those goals out, right, and you put them out in front of you, then at least you have some driving force, right? And you have a place to go to grow. I mean, you're just in the baby stage of this. And the fact is, I mean, I literally could see how big this could become. And quite frankly, it's less messy than casting. I lost a pair of shorts the other day. There is no coming back from that.
Yeah,
Not at all.
absolutely.
Okay, so I just want to wrap up with just you personally. Like, what do you guys do when you're not sitting in the office doing all this amazing stuff for those of us that are really in need? Eric, what do you like to do in your spare time? What are your hobbies?
Um, Anything that's related to sports or physical activity, I love to do it. I'll bike, I'll run, I'll go to the gym, soccer, rock climb for a while, not as much anymore, had a wrist injury. And then anything probably music related, play the guitar when I have some time, and that's about it.
I have a guitar. I would love to learn.
We can jam.
I know
Let's
that
go.
would be great. You would not want to jam with me right now. It'd sound really awful.
Oh, it's okay. We don't have to be good to jam.
But that is a goal of mine.
There
I do
you
have a
go.
guitar and I'm dying to
Here,
learn it. So excellent. All
gotta
right, cool.
bring it to
Active guy.
Boston.
I know, right? I will totally. I'm bringing it. All right. So Lauren, how about you? What do you do in your spare time? What are your hobbies? What do you love?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have two dogs at home, so love hanging out with my husband and the two dogs. We like going camping when the weather's a little bit warmer than it is now. We're a nice balmy 40 degrees in Boston this time of year, but just love getting out and spending time with them.
Excellent. Yeah, you wouldn't want to know that we're almost 80 here.
Oh my goodness.
And can I just tell you, I'm done. I'm so done. We were hitting 60s, low 60s, and I'm like, oh, so you see, I have a sweatshirt. So this is our morning temperature. And then I see the sun out and I'm going to go see my horses and I'm going, sweatshirt and it's going to be too hot for a sweatshirt.
Wow.
So we have different seasons through the day right now, winter into summer, back into fall. So that's where we're at. So camping here right now, I guess would be good, but
Yeah.
excellent. You guys, thank you so much. What an amazing interview. What an amazing group. I love the drive. I love the dreaming and what there is for us as amputees to look forward to. I'm like, when I first toy with the idea for electing an amputation, because I had no other options at this point, I remember talking to an older gentleman at my church that said, he's a hip dysarticulate from cancer as a child. So he lived his whole life that way and never wore a prosthetic because it was just too hard to keep one on. And he told me that he would have told me 10, 15 years ago, he would have told me, don't do it, just wait. He goes, but with what's going on now, and this was like 7 years ago, he goes, what's going out now is amazing. And I'm telling people that are at that cusp, I'm like, what's coming in the next 5 to 10 years is incredible. And the fact that there is such a high competitive rate, it seems like, with the different universities in trying to get this technology and using all the stuff that's starting to happen with, and I'm not going to say it, but AI kind of stuff, we are starting to see a lot more ideas, like with what Hugh's done in the bionic limbs and stuff like that. It's crazy. And so I'm so excited to see what's coming, because I feel like it's just how computers have been. They're constantly changing every year. Things are upgraded and changed and new and fresh, and everything takes a step closer to just living a normal life and being back to what we want to do. And that's great. So thank you for your time, your efforts, your passion and your compassion to all of us in this amputee world. And I look forward to getting over there, seeing you guys, seeing how it all works in lab one of these days, and maybe even being a client. So
yeah, absolutely. We
We're
look
here.
forward
Everyone
to
come.
having you
you guys,
anytime.
you guys keep doing what you're doing, and I appreciate you being on. Thank you.